Welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. Disaster relief money scams may sound like a nice come-up, but don't think detectives aren't watching you. A Houston woman, Kalia Douglas, has pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud. She reportedly filed 8 phony disaster assistance applications to FEMA in relation to Hurricane Laura. She also owned up to using her Instagram account to further blast those filings. In all, Douglas pocketed more than $23,000 from customer before making those fake applications in their names, according to prosecutors. Douglas now faces up to 5 years in prison and a fine of up to $250,000. Her sentencing is set for September 26. Joining me to talk about it, defense attorney and former Harris County prosecutor, isiah-factor-uncensored. Glad to have you here on The Factor Uncensored. We are now in this day and age seeing people who are involved in scams, taking those scams to social media and getting other people involved who may not be quite aware that they're breaking the law. So you have to be careful out there, right?
Absolutely. You know, ignorance of the law is not a defense.
Absolutely not.
And so if you're seeing a get-rich-quick scheme online, you have to be a little bit suspicious of that and do your due diligence in investigating what's this person's credentials and whether or not it's actually a legal proposition that's being made.
We have seen many cases where now the Internal Revenue Service are investigating everyday folk because they got advice from influencers saying you should apply for this credit when they should never apply for this credit. And the FBI recently announced, I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago, that they are aggressively going after and prosecuting individuals who take credits that they don't deserve.
And if you think about it, what is the purpose of those loans? These are small business loans, are FEMA disaster loans. So this is money that people really need, right? Those who are victims of a hurricane, or survivors of a hurricane, or those who lost a business due to a natural disaster. And so you're defrauding the government and taking money out of the hands of people who actually need it for your own purposes, right? And so if you're that person online, and you are looking at TikTok or Instagram and you see someone advertising, oh, get money from a PPP loan, ask yourself, do I own a small business? Am I a victim of a natural disaster? If the answer is no, you should probably continue to move on with your day and not partake in whatever is being.
There are so many people who succumb to that temptation, however. How would you tell them to deal with that if it's just so tempting to them? And clearly all they have to do is fill out paperwork, lie on it. They'll get the money, but in the back end, they'll get the prison time as well.
And therein lies, I think, the way to get people not to commit these offenses is this is a loan. So that means they're going to want their money back. You have to file an application. So that means there's a paper trail. This was online. That means there's a digital footprint. So you may get this money quick today, but if you continue on this path, you pretty much are creating receipts left and right, and you're making this relatively easy for the government to solve this crime later on.
Now, during the pandemic, many of the PPP loans were forgiven, and the federal government said, okay, you don't have to pay it back. But those were legitimate businesses. If they investigate and audit you and they realize you didn't have a legitimate business, you will become a target of an investigation.
Absolutely, and you can't really say, well, I didn't know this was illegal because you got all this money. Were you using it for a loan? So you're pretty much kind of dead in the rights there. So you're better off just trying to earn money the right way. If you look at this case, for example, she was charged in April and she pled guilty today in June. So clearly she didn't have much of a defense, right? And so that should highlight how easy it is to solve these crimes and should steer people away from following in light of what this woman did.
All right, isiah-factor-uncensored, thank you for joining us here on The Fact.
Absolutely. Thanks
New
for having
haircut,
me.
huh?
Yeah, you know.
No more dreads. Thank you for joining us here on The Factor. Good to see you.